Another day dragged to an end in that dangerous frozen paradise we called Minnesota. Outside, the wind sang like a lonely spirit. But inside, we gathered near the fireplace, biting into bread and dried meat. My grandchildren and me. Those little raccoons. They would chew through even the cans of beans if they could. Their eyes shone like the sky of Norway, even after losing so much, after suffering so much. The kids didn't talk much, were a bit clumsy, and were always hungry. They really did look like raccoons. But when it came to hunting, no rabbit hole escaped those two. They took after their father, those little red-headed little rascals. They were true warriors. They needed to be. Those two, they were my light. They woke up early, even before the snow stopped falling. They helped me sweep the store floor, dusted the goods, played at stacking the canned food as if they were castles. And they laughed every time I pretended to have hurt my finger in the carpentry workshop. I pretended, but the truth is that those innocent laughs were all I had left to warm my heart. As for me, I might have been a little old, but I was a Norwegian old man far too stubborn to accept old age. We had a humble store where we sold preserves, canned goods, and ammunition, and a small woodworking shop next to it. We lived off what I managed to sell. That was how we earned our living in this new world. We had faced many things since we arrived here, but these last days had been worse. We got ready to sleep, and as always, the boys asked me to tell stories about the old world. They didn't remember much. They were far too young when we left Norway. And so I told them. Maybe to calm them, maybe to calm myself. But it didn't help in my case. The settlement that had once been full of life was now empty. Locked houses, creaking doors, windows banging in the wind. Everyone had run to the government forts, everyone except us. And I was broken inside. Each night I looked at the boys sleeping and wondered if I was right, or just being irresponsible. Should we head to the fort like everyone else? Of course it was dangerous here. Of course it was cold. Of course the rumors about the Sioux made anyone uneasy. But what if their father returned and didn't find us? What if he arrived with meat, pelts, blankets, and found the cabin empty? My son was a hunter, and he came home at least twice a week carrying fresh meat and firewood. The last time he appeared was a little less than a month ago, but I couldn't accept that he was dead. A father never accepts that. A grandfather even less. Our food supply was shrinking, the firewood too, and then the howls began. Long howls, coming from every direction. It was as if the night had teeth. I shut the door bolts, made the children sleep near the fireplace, and I stayed awake all night, sitting with the shotgun in my lap, listening to the snow hitting the wood and something else. Footsteps, scratching, growls. The door shook for the first time a short while later. Then again and again, until it gave in. Two wolves entered the cabin, grey shadows moving too fast. I raised the shotgun and fired at the first. It fell at my feet. But the second knocked me to the floor. I felt the weight, the hot breath, the teeth scraping the metal, as I tried to use the gun as a shield. And I thought, if I die here, what will happen to the children? The boys woke up screaming. I was losing strength. And then shots cut through the night. Shots from a rifle I knew. 3, 4, 5. The weight of the wolf was ripped off me. When I opened my eyes, I saw my son, the boy's father, standing there, breathing as if the cold burned his lungs, covered in snow, face marked with cuts. He ran to me, helped me sit up. "Father, Father, are you okay?" I spun around like a fat turkey looking for wounds, not believing I'd survived without a single scratch. He said, "The Sioux ambushed me in the forest. It took me weeks to shake them off." He swallowed hard, holding the boys tight to the chest. They were still scared, and then continued, "I barely escaped, but they're coming this way. We have an hour or two, maybe less. We have to leave, now." I felt my soul freeze more than the snow blowing in through the broken door. But there was no time to think. We put out the fire, grabbed what we could, and left. We walked through deep snow, in absolute silence. My heart pounded so loud I feared the boys could hear it. The moon lit us with a cold, unforgiving glow. The wind cut through the skin. And then, the sound I will never forget. Chants, many, rhythmic, advancing through the forest. My son stopped, raised his hand. We entrenched ourselves behind a fallen log, hiding as best we could. I covered the children's mouths in despair. The smallest sound would give us away. We breathed deep and waited, and waited, and waited. Until finally, the chants grew distant. They headed east. We continued north, toward the fort. We arrived at dawn. The gates opened. Soldiers pulled us inside, shocked. They swore no living soul remained out there. They gave us blankets, hot soup, and safety. I had never felt so safe in my life. In the following weeks, the Sioux retreated to other territories after seeing the number of settlers joining the army. It wasn't a definitive victory. The fight wasn't over. Those lands were theirs, and we were the invaders. But for now, we had peace. And with that peace, we returned home, repaired what had been broken, reopened the store. My son stayed home more often, caring for the children and helping in the workshop. There was much work after the Sioux attacks. The twins carried hammers almost bigger than they were pretending they were helping. The smell of fresh wood mixed with the cold northern wind. And for the first time in a long time, nothing felt threatening. Neighbors returned too, one by one. Timid, cautious. Like people returning to a dream they thought they'd lost. Together, we rebuilt our little settlement. The same place where years ago my feet touched the snow, believing that here, in this distant corner of the world, it was still possible to begin again. Today, watching my grandchildren running between the shelves, arguing over who gets to stack the cans or arrange the jars, I realize it was worth staying. It was worth resisting. Because this was our home. Maybe the frontier will never be completely safe. Maybe the wolves or the wars will return someday. But now I see my boys sleeping warm, breathing deeply, unafraid, and I realize that peace isn't a place. It's a moment we protect together. If tomorrow is difficult, we will face it. If the world is harsh, we will harden with it. Because this cabin, this fireplace we gather around, became a home not because of the wood, but because of the love we put into it. And as long as my boys are safe, I can close my eyes knowing that I fulfilled my duty